Welcome to the Real CP Show. I am your host, CP. In today's topic, which day is July the 3rd, 2026. This particular Nigerian British black man, in whichever tribe that he originates from in Nigeria, and however sectionality over there, young age or born over to the British area, doesn't matter. The system says Negro. You just a different version in a different geographical situation. And the thing about it is he was a or is a very well known photographer, very well known uh, activist, and different things like that. Had a very prestigious chair position at this major art center over there in that area. But as soon as he started relaying over, open his mouth up to the wrong scenario relating to this particular type of Jawishism, then he got his remindment. And it wasn't even bad or anything. He just questioned something that came up. I'll get to that in a little bit. But he got his remindment card on that situation. But let me go ahead and share my screen on this. Many people haven't even heard of this guy, but I'm also about, again, various topics, be it the United States, be it another country, different things like that. See, that's also part of growing the mentality on that. So let me share my screen again on this. So relayed. Make sure you can see this. Misan Harriman. Now, I want you to look at that name. Now, this is supposed to be a Nigerian. Misan Harriman. Okay. To step down from South Bank Center, which is a major art center. Major. Thousands had expressed their support for the artists and activists after right-wing tabloids accused him of what? Anti-Semitism. Boy, that tactic works wonderfully because the system knows there's just not enough people to sit there and push back on the genericality to say, what does that mean? Because there are many people of different cultures and backgrounds that practice the Judaism faith. So are they able to be called, when somebody says something to them personally or does something to them, are they able to bring up their, some people practice anti-Semitism toward them? Do you see how that goes? But neither here nor there. All right. So maybe he forgot. Different version of a Negro just across the pond. Well, I guess the Mediterranean over there, going from Nigeria. So it talks about photographer and activist Misan Harriman said he will step down from his post as chair of London's South Bank Center. Harriman's announcement comes weeks after a series of right-wing tabloids scrutinized his response to the April 29th attack in North London, Golden Green, right? So it's neighborhood over there. In a video uploaded to Instagram, Harriman, but that's supposed to be Nigerian man, right? Okay. Harriman. Okay. Who has helmed the arts organization since 2021, said he had decided to depart the leadership position prior to the criticism from British media in May. A photographer of exceptional range, Harriman, born in Nigeria. It's interesting how they make sure not talk about, or they don't bring up themselves, what tribe. You see how that goes, right? Watch this little trickery-based words, became the first black photographer to, you see what? A Vogue cover in September 2020. See that word right there, the genericality when it's used in this way, black photographer. Do you see how that goes? No, how about Nigerian first? Or what about his tribe first photographer? Nope. See, too many people, that's why the delineation is essential within Americanism. Because what if he comes over to America, just give an example, then he can use like, well, he's black. No, you're not. Now, category wise, but you're not generationally 400 plus some years Black American, right? But can he call himself African American if he had, decided to move with his wife, who is not Nigerian, by the way? Now, I tell people love who they love, but just saying on that part. Mm, mm-mm. Anyway, so the whole point is this is why delineation for Black Americans is essential. Because say again, what if he moved with his wife? I don't know if anyway, he moved with his wife and they came to America, right? He can call himself African American. You watch the games, people. It's semi public knowledge that my term is coming to an end anyway. My actual term, Harriman wrote, I had decided way before this madness that I was going to do 2 terms. Oh, okay, but how many people he told that to? All right, I guess. All right. A spokesman for the South Bank Center confirmed to allergic something that Meson, a hyperallergic, allergic, allergic, that Meson would not seek a 3rd term as the institution's leader and would depart this autumn. Succession planning is already underway, with further details to be confirmed following our annual meeting in July. The South Bank Center spokesman told Hyper Allergic. Over 100,000 people formally complained to the United Kingdom Independent Press Standards Organization in May over a spate of right-wing media reports characterizing Harriman's social media comments about the Golden Green attack as anti-Semitic. Now, here's the thing where he kind of got in trouble because he opened his mouth up and started relaying over certain types of Jowishism, and he got his Remindment card. Right? He said, no, different versions of Negro, Nigerian, British Negro. You can talk about this and all that, but you start getting this other Jowishism, you way below your pay grade. You way below your mentality. We don't care how much education, Negro, you think you may have, or what kind of experience you think you have, Negro. You have a place. And he got his Remindment card. They said, we don't care who you married to or your fiance, whatever she is, right? Whatever her Anglo-ness over there, British Anglo-ness, we don't care about that. You ain't one of them. I'm telling you, got his Remindment. Issa Suleiman is accused of stabbing 2 Jawish men in the predominantly Jawish neighborhood in an April attack that local enforcement described as terrorism. Ain't that interesting how fast those words come real fast, right? And that would have been the same thing with an Americanism. This happened. That comes real fast. You do that toward Harvard generic Jewishism. Oh, that's terrorism. That's that's anti-Jewishism. And you're like, what does the Jewish person look like? Do you see it? They said not too many people can see through this. Suleiman is also accused of stabbing his friend Ishmael something Hussein, right? Who is reportedly Muslim. Hours before stabbing the 2 Jewish men, the violent incident prompted calls from the British Prime Minister, such and such, to address the anti-Semitism in the country. You see how fast that goes? You see how fast that happens? Harriman had criticized a perceived lack of media attention to the 3rd victim. He talking about the non-Jewishism personnel on that situation, right? Going back, Essen, also stabbing. So stabbing his friend, like Esau Suleiman, stabbed his friend Ismail Hussein, right? He's talking about that part. Well, why is it that however people, they're not talking about that version? Why is it that they jump straight to talking about anti-Semitism? Just innocent question, right? And they showed him a Remindment. Harriman, that's supposed to be the Nigerian, British, black male, right? With the name Harriman. Okay. had criticized a perceived lack of media attention to the third victim, Ismail Hussein, propping accusations from the Telegraph that the arts leader was promoting conspiracy theories. The paper also zeroed in on a video Harriman posted reflecting on the right wing Reform Party's success in local elections, in which he invoked a quote by Jewish American critic Susan Sontag, which she had given in the context of the one Holocaustness. I'm like, we're not going to go into all that about that one Holocaustness, and I'm going all that. Right wingers then accused Harriman of comparing the Populist Party to the Nazis, making for an additional headline fodder, right? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. They said Nazis. Oh! But if you say the N word, you talk about slavery, get over it. On social media this week, Harriman shared that he received thrusts to his life following over 20 articles about social media activity. Now, here's the thing about it. They had to remind him, Negro, as long as you sit there and mind your freaking Negro little animal business to yourself or whatever other little things you photographize and activize, as long as you don't sit there and talk anything about us. Do you understand? He talks about, I've organized for Black Lives Matter. Watch the trickery, people. What is that supposed to mean? It wasn't about specifically Black lives. It was started by non-Black American. Wait, let me back. It was started not by, should we say, heterosexual Black personnel. Even though, okay, it doesn't make no difference on that. But it wasn't about specifically Black Americans. For people who don't do your freaking homework, it had nothing to do with only Black Americans. Even though it came out of a Black American tragedy with the youth black male, it had nothing to do with the organization. When you start looking at about the Black Lives Matter entity, it shows you it had nothing to do with that. Do you understand? So the symbolism was something good, but then it got infiltrated and pushed around, all this kind of stuff like that. He championed women's rights. What is that supposed to mean? They're women's rights. Are they not Black British personnel over there? Black British women? You understand? But just generic women's rights. See, that game is played within parts of America. Women's rights, women's rights. He'd be like, what women's rights? We're going to act like that there's some kind of unification of women, women's camaraderie in America. Are you crazy? Then they said he's organized L, G-ness, B-ness, T-ness, Q plus rights, right? So he checkmarked Black Lives Matter. They checkmarked champions women's rights, checkmark LGBTQ plus right, whatever that's supposed to mean. Transgender protections, checkmark that. And for the Ukrainians during the war, which they didn't need his Negro self, a different version. They didn't need him. I guess he failed to realize the numbers of personnel, the numbers of African personnel, the ones applies to, that was in Ukraine begging for people to help them out when certain numbers of Ukrainians over there was treating them like dog shit. Quietness from him, isn't it? And numbers of various other African personnel, the ones that was quiet about it. And no one has had a problem until I started speaking out against, you know what? Genocide in Palestine. You said that word goes. As long as they're speaking out on some other things that had nothing to do with us, Negro, Nigerian, black male, whatever you are, that's married to a non-black Nigerian, we don't care. But as long as you sit there, you bring up us, oh, we got to show you Remindment. And that's what they did. Harriman told Hyperallergic in a May interview. In addition to the formal complaints to the Independent Press Standards organization, over 33,000 people had signed onto a celebrity-backed missive organized by the UK's Good Law Project condemning Harriman's treatment. The letter signed by such and such person. This person rejected the smear campaign as an attempt to transduce and marginalize me. Sign. I don't want to read. That's a little bit left over, but I'm not going to read anything else on that. So he got his remindment. Not, hey, I hope things work out for him. But this right here was going on before Black Lives Matter. So I'm about to close this out. Colored waiting room, private property, no parking. I think he's a little bit less than 50 years old. This is going on before he was even born, right? So talking about Black Lives Matter, he has no clue, right? No, we're talking about the symbolism. And so the system is like British, black, Negro, whatever you are, because you married to whatever Anglo-British woman, you'll never be them in the first place. And that's a whole different topic. But they look at him like British Negro, Nigerian British Negro, whatever you want to claim yourself. Mind your business and, stay out of our business. So he got a remindment. So I hope things work out for him, but he did get a remindment. I thank you for tuning in to the Real CP Show.